Welcome to Fun is Fundamental. Fun is Fundamental is a podcast for those who realize that the enjoyment of life is about having something deep in our souls which lights our fire. It's for those who maybe have lost that fire and feel like they are missing out on the pleasures of life. In each episode, I will share recent fun activities and focus on why having fun is essential for good health. I'm your host, Alenia, and I invite you to take this journey with me and join the pleasure-seeking movement.
All right. Good morning, John. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. I guess sometimes I just kind of like to have the a guest tell us a little bit about yourself, your history, and what brought you here.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. And at an early age, I fell in love with football. And that passion and love earned me a scholarship to Washington State University. Go Cougs.
You got a local connection.
Yeah, go Cougs. And from there, I got a chance to play several years of professional football before getting a couple screws in my right knee. And that began, kind of forced me to transition into the mortgage business. And eventually, I went on to own one of the largest leading mortgage brokerages in all of Southern California, all during the early 2000s. And built like I said, an incredible business where I was making more money than I ever did as a professional football player, living this millionaire like lifestyle, and I mean big houses, cars, everything you can imagine, and abruptly lost it all during the mortgage meltdown. Within a short period of time, I went from very, very abundant to very, very lack and scarce and in poverty, essentially. I mean, I literally lost everything. I mean, not just my business, but I mean, houses, cars. I lost my family, my wife and kids.
Oh,
Yeah, it was really, really a dark, dark, dark period for me that caused me to basically force me to move into my mom's. I was homeless, so I had to go to my mom's house and try to figure out what to do with myself. But when I went to my mom's house, I actually took three things with me. I took my mountain bike, a bag full of gym workout clothes, and this big box that I had full of motivational books, CDs, and tapes and things. And as I started going through that box, I knew I had to get that box. That box was full of like Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Power of Now, all of the most successful self-help books available was in that box. And I figured I had to go back in there. But as I was going through there was this one book called the Mind Map book by Tony Buzan that I don't remember personally buying, but I got it from somewhere.
yeah.
For some reason it resonated with me, and I read that book first and made one of the most powerful decisions I've ever made because I decided, oh bless you, I decided to mind map all of the contents of that box. So I spent 3 4 months all day every day mind mapping, all of these amazing books, um, effective, highly effective people. I mean, every book that you could think of, I just was immersed and absorbed in this. And essentially, it was my first introduction to mind mapping, and it totally transformed my life so much that I went from homeless back to making a solid six-figure income in less than 8 months.
Wow.
And I know it was because of mind mapping. It gave me clarity. It gave me so many wonderful things that, not only did it transform my life immediately, but I've been using it ever since 2009
Mhm.
to love and live my best life. For the last 15 years, I've been one of the country's top mortgage software developers. I build the infrastructure for mortgage banks, became one of the best at that. Then when the pandemic came, I decided we were quarantined. I said, you know what, now is a good time to start sharing the power of this mind mapping tool with others. So I started writing books, and since the pandemic, I've written 10 books, became an international best-selling author. I've developed mind mapping courses, online courses, mini courses. I got coaching programs, keynote talks, workshops. Everything is just mind map driven for me right now because I'm truly passionate to show people, to guide people who may be suffering and confused and lost and uncertain about where they're at in life and where they're heading in life. I really feel like it's my mission now to show these people what helped me clarify my vision, my future, and my goals. So that ultimately is has been my passion, um, which led me to you. To just, I'm just committed to just sharing my story with as many people as possible, with hopes that, it can help people love and live their best lives.
Yeah, that's great. I guess for anyone who doesn't know, can you explain a little bit about what mind mapping is and if there's any difference between just general mind mapping and map
Mappineering.
Mappineering?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Well, for those who have never heard of what a mind map is, a mind map essentially is just a visual information management tool, meaning that it's a visual way to manage information, to manage things that you're thinking about. It's a perfect tool to take whatever you got going on in your mind and the way to put it out in a map form so you can really see what you're thinking about. So you can gain greater perspective about what it is you're thinking, whether it's problem solving, decision making, goal setting, dealing with stuff in your past, anything you got to think about. I've never met a more powerful tool than mind mapping because it gives you perspective versus, things swirling in your head. You'll be able to really structure it and organize it in a map form. Now, most people that heard of mind mapping and use mind mapping, like almost all of your Fortune 500 companies are using mind mapping. Many of your Ivy League schools are using mind mapping for their students. Most of the people that are using it, they primarily use it for three ways. And one is brainstorming. Mind mapping is a great tool to brainstorm any ideal or thought or anything you want to really gain more perspective on. Another another way that they use it is for note taking. Like many colleges now are finding that their students are getting better test scores by note taking using mind maps because they're finding that it's easier for students to remember where they left certain information on a map versus that bullet point list
Mm,
that we're used to taking notes. And another key reason, or the key way that people use mind mapping is called project management, where because mind mapping is excellent for that because you can see the entire project as a whole, but also mind maps will allow you to, focus down on the nitty-gritty details and tasks and people that need to make sure that certain things are done to make that project successful. So those are the three ways that most people use mind mapping around the world. Now, when it comes to Mappineering, due to my story I just shared, I've always just used mind mapping as a personal development tool. I used it to get my life together. I use it for solving complex problems and, making decisions. And as I really started getting into the mind mapping world internationally, which is very big in like Europe and some parts of Asia, more
mm,
so than here in the US,
mhm,
I started to realize that I'm the only one that's really promoting it, teaching it, coaching it, training, and talking about it as a personal development tool,
mm,
not as a project management, brainstorming. It's good for those, but I find it being more powerful for personal development. So I wanted to kind of distinguish my style from the traditional style,
mhm.
which is where I came up with the my Mappineering, engineering beautiful mind maps. So when people hear that, they know it's mind maps more for personal development, more than the traditional use of mind maps. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
For sure. Because yeah, whenever I've ever used a mind map, it's always been at school and it's always like way to organize information that you get from, whatever you're learning kind of thing. So yeah, I can see that it's helpful to distinguish it as being like, here's another way you can use mind mapping,
Right.
Yeah.
Another approach. And some of the tools that I think that you and your audience will immediately find valuable is for Mappineering, I use what is called and I teach what is called a 5 Ws plus 1 H mind map. 5 Ws plus 1 H. And essentially it's like, for instance, if you have a problem, you could take a blank piece of paper or use any of the mind mapping softwares that's available, and just put in the middle the title of your problem, whatever you want to label that problem is. Then around the center of the title, you want to put who, what, where, when, why, and how, all connecting to the title of the problem. And now you just brainstorm, who's involved with this problem? Who should be involved with this problem? Who can help me with this problem? All of the who questions you can think of, you add that to that section of your mind map. Then you move down to what? What is the problem? What is occurring? What else could this really mean? Or what is the outcome of this this situation? Then you go down to where, same thing. Where is this problem happening? Where should it be happening? Then you move to when. When is it always happening? Then you go to why and how, and you brainstorm all of these components of your problem. When you do a good job and take your time doing it, by the time you're finished, and you step back and look at this mind map that you created, 5 Ws plus 1 H mind map you created, always, I swear to you, yes, always, the solution to your problem becomes clear. You know, you see what your next best step is. You know exactly what you need to do to resolve the problem, or at least you know exactly what your next best step is to take to resolve that problem. And super duper powerful in so many different ways, because most people are dealing with problems, and the particulars of the problem are swirling in their head, disorganized,
Mhm.
just all of this, and it creates all of that stress and tension because you don't know what to do. It feels like you're trapped, and kind of deal with most people. And I've been finding with a lot of the my clients and students that I work with that they come to me and they're like this,
Mhm.
in a session, they're all tense about something that's going on, and I'll take them through this process, and it's amazing on how relaxed they become after the process, because I'm finding that the problem is no longer stuck in here in first person
Mhm.
going through it. It's like they release it and put it in third person, and it's like now they're looking at it here, versus it can't see it in here. So now they're more calm, which opens people up to receive a possible solution.
Mhm.
And it's just transformative in so many ways just to have people go through this process when dealing with problems. You can deal with decision making, goal setting. I mean, these 5 Ws plus 1 H are powerful. I've used it with clients for dating, just, and who are you looking for? What are some of the characteristics? When do you would want to find this, and where you think are the good places? I mean, you can use this for anything to get true clarity about a problem or a decision or anything that you want to have. And that's just one of the tools that I use in my mapineering practices that I'm hopeful some of you and your listeners can immediately find some value in.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how just getting out of the rumination of like just like blah 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 blah, blah,
Yeah.
can help just like take you out of like kind of a fight or flight, feeling and um
Hmm.
because I think a lot of times people just get paralyzed when they are in that situation where it's just like I can't make a decision because it's just like there's just
Right.
too much like going on and I feel so
Hmm.
anxious and everything. So yeah,
So
I
I'm not
think
I'm not gonna make one. I'm just hoping the problem just disappears.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
hoping it just goes away,
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
it never happens like that.
Yeah.
You have to strategically figure out the best way to manage problems. And again, that's what I've been finding, that this tool has been really helpful, to help people just clarify what I'm finding with a lot of people that are stressing and depressed, lost, unfocused, is primarily, because they don't have a necessary a tool, accessible, easy tool to help them sort out, their life,
Hmm.
this chapter that they're experiencing in their life, or this situation that they're dealing with in their life. And that's, again, I believe is my calling. And my mission is to do everything I can till my last day to try to see if I can help people to, use this tool to live a better quality of life.
Yeah. I imagine it also helps people, because sometimes people kind of just don't even know what they want sometimes. And I'm sure like just having like a tool like that can just help you kind of like narrow it down to be like, no, this is actually what I really want in my heart, my soul wants kind of thing, as opposed to
Exactly.
just being like, this seems okay, this seems okay, I don't know, kind of just like fluttering around, not really knowing kind of thing. So,
It's very powerful. And one of the, out of the thousands and thousands and thousands of possibilities one can use mind mapping for. I mean, whether you're in the third grade or you're a CEO, anything you got to think about, you can use a mind map to help gain clarity. But out of all of those possibilities, I come to staunchly believe that there's one that is more powerful than anyone ever, that out of all ones, and I highly recommend everyone at least do this one. And that's what I call the I am mind map. And it's just really designed strictly to help you get clear on who you are on a deep level, not the surface level, but who are you really as it relates to your health, your wealth, your success, and your happiness. And again, I wrote books, I got courses on this, I do a lot of talks, and this is like my, I guess, my flagship or my main point of topic, because I truly believe that, you can't really effectively goal set until you get really clear on who you are,
mhm,
and what you want. There's so many of us, unfortunately, that set goals, work very hard, sacrifice, and work their butt off, tails off to reach a certain goal, only to find out that it didn't give them the fulfillment that they thought they were going to get. And
mhm,
that's my belief, is that it's primarily because that goal wasn't really truly in alignment with who you really are or who you're intending to be. So I'm almost always, when I'm working with my clients and students, I have them start there. Let's
mhm,
start here to get really clear again on, this is what I did. This is exactly what I did. When I was lost at my mother's house, and those first 3 months, 4 months, I spent mind mapping the contents of that box I was saying, all of those books, and I came away with two key components, or two key aha moments from that experience. Was one is that, all of these thought leaders, Tony Robbins, Eckhart Tolle, Les Brown, Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, they were all basically trying to tell us one thing: life is meant to be loved. You are here to love your life, and they all had their different philosophies, strategies, and approaches on how to do it. But that's
mhm,
essentially what they were all trying to get us to do, is live a better quality of life. So that was like a big aha moment for me, that, wait a minute, despite the current circumstances of my life, you know, um, it's not permanent, and I'm here to love my life. Then the second thing I got from that, they all seem to talk about, is that in order for you to get to truly love your life, you have to be really clear on who you are and what you want from life, to really fully express and walk in it and find that true happiness. Most people don't ever find happiness because they never really define what happiness means to them.
mhm,
They just bouncing from things to thing to thing, or relationship for relationship, relationship, or job to job to job, without really spending time to get clear on, what really do I want in a relationship? What
mhm,
really do I want in a job? Or what really is the true reason that I'm working hard for this goal? People just like, all right, it sounds good, if I do this, or, yeah, everybody's getting married, so I guess I'll get married too, and all this kind of stuff. So when I started breaking down And realizing that, I realized I needed to create an I am mind map for myself back then. And I just started asking myself, what's most important to me? What is really, truly most important to me? Truly. And then after hours and weeks, I came to realize that, nothing more important to me than my health. There's nothing more important than my health. So I put that on my I am mind map. I started with I am in the middle. I put health. Then I kept asking myself, what else is more important than, to me? What is most important? Then I landed on wealth. I wanted an abundance of things. I don't want to suffer and lack. Then I was like, what else? Then I said, success is always important. I want to win. I want to win in life. Then I moved to, yeah, I gotta have happiness. So I come to realize that those are the four key components, what I call anchors, that are required for me, and what I'm finding for most people, for a lot of people, that when you get clear on those four anchors about who you are and what you're intending for your life, it definitely puts you in the best position to start moving in that direction intentionally. That I am mind map will give you a plan, will give you a strategy, give you action steps that you can constantly look at and manage and figure out where you may not be focusing enough attention on, or what your next best step is to get better at this, and all of these key components. And that's what I've done with my life to rebuild and kind of live a good life, I guess you can say now. And I'm just determined to find all of those people that are lost, or can use some direction, need a guide to help
Mhm.
them rediscover, what it truly is to and means for them to love and live their best life. And man, that just juices me, man. I could talk about this all day. This is just my thing of just truly, I've seen so many great responses in people. And that's the interesting thing. And I'm pretty sure you probably have some experience in this, when you find somebody suffering or not feeling fulfilled, and you say something or do something or help them shift that, so now you see them living a happier life, and living, smiling more and feeling better, and because of, your help. Man, that is an addicting feeling. It's really addicting feeling to, for me at least, that I really juice. I really get my juices on that feeling of knowing that I caused and create positive change in someone's life. And that's what I'm constantly seeking, those moments. Seem like almost every day.
Mhm. Do you think that your background in like, becoming like a football, into football and having that discipline, do you think that like definitely benefited you and like helped you kind of roll through the most difficult times in your life to kind of like get out the other side, maybe with slightly less, less pain potentially?
Yeah, yeah, I think it does. There's something about being an athlete, I think at an early age, especially like with me as a football player. The game, when you play a game of any kind, you don't always win. You don't always make great plays. You don't always, it's not always fun. It's not always, the reward at the end, and you have to push through those tough times, injuries, whether it's broken fingers or screws in knees and stuff like that. So what really helped me, and I'm working with a lot of student athletes with this, is understanding how the game of life is very similar to the game of football, or the sport you're playing, and that you're going to have bad games, but that doesn't mean the rest of your season is going to be bad. You're gonna miss some plays. You're not gonna make every play. Michael Jordan didn't. You know, a lot of these great
Yeah.
athletes didn't and don't.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, he didn't win every game. What I mean? It's very hard. So with that underlining belief or under experience, I realized that life is very similar. That I'm not gonna get everybody to like me. Every day is not going to be great. I am going to drop the ball sometime. I am not going to be perfect, but that doesn't mean the next day, the next play, I can't make the play. I can't now turn this whole thing around. So I think that perspective really helped me a lot to navigate through my storms, is realizing that it's not permanent. It's realizing that there will be another play, there is another season, there's another opportunity before me, and I can't stay too long in the play that happened in the first quarter. If I'm in the third quarter, how crazy would that be? And I ask athletes that all the time. How crazy would it be for you to be in the third quarter of a tight game and you're mentally still stressing on something happened in the first quarter? You would be nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so amazing on how many people in life do just that.
Mm-hmm.
Fail to make the current play in the third and fourth quarter, especially when we're older. My mom says this all the time, and she's just resonating like, son, I'll be turning 75 next month and be starting my fourth quarter, kind of deal. So she looks at 25 years as quarters of the game. And if that's true, I'm in my third quarter at 56 right now. And I'm like, how crazy that I run across so many of my friends that are doing just that. They're in the third quarter, fourth quarter, and can't get over what happened in the first,
Mm-hmm.
and wondering why they keep failing to make the plays in the third quarter because their head is not in the now. It's stuck in some stuff that they can't change, kind of deal. And so, long way to answer your question. Yes, it did help me. It does help me. And again, that's just a part of my passion to guide people, to mentor folks who are having problems with letting go of the past. And I created a bunch of Mappineering exercises and mind maps to really have people, go back through each decade of their past, and put on their mind map what specifically resonates to you in your mind from 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40. And we spend time and just open up whatever comes to your mind. Any thoughts, good, bad, whatever. Let's just put it all on your map about what you remember during those decades of your life. And, if the positive things, I encourage them to expound upon the positive, resonate with the feelings, the emotion, the impact that he created. The negative things that may come up, we have conversations about, what else could it mean? How can we reframe this? What have you learned from it? How have you grown from this? How did you get better from this? Just to kind of help people really kind of release some of that negativity that may be holding them back
Mm-hmm.
from living and
Yeah.
loving their best life.
For sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I think like people under like remembering and understanding that like the worst events of your life don't have to define you and your mistakes don't have to define you and that, you can come out the other side, like and
Yeah,
get something from them and like it's great to reframe like what you got from it, to make you who you are today, you know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a big. I wrote a book on this and got many courses on this because I believe on my I am mind map, when I ask myself, what is required for me to truly be happy? But I don't know too many people that really just dug deep into that. What does it mean to be happy for you? And what I landed on, again, after hours of mentally grappling with this, is that for me to truly be happy, I have to be blessed for my past. Meaning anything and everything that I look back at my past, I have to be blessed for that experience, whether good or bad.
Mhm.
If it was bad, I've grown from it, I survived it, I become a better person for it. The good speaks for itself. And while at the same time, when I'm thinking about my future, I have to be grateful for my future. Grateful for all of the awesome possibilities that could happen. Grateful for another day. If I can do both of those things while staying fulfilled in the present moment, I'll be happy. I realize that most people, they're either stressing with guilt and regret from the past, or they're afraid of something that could happen in the future, which prevents them from being fulfilled with the moment of now. And all we have is now. You know, tomorrow, yesterday you can't do that one, and tomorrow may not come. So all you got is now. So all of my social medias, people always hear me say blessed and grateful. I have a blessed and grateful pose that where I travel around the world, I use this as an anchor pose, just to really stay connected in the moment and truly be blessed for my past, grateful for my future right now, and that is again a key component of the I am system that I help people with and guide people through. But I hope people, really take that seriously, that being in a moment, if you think about your past, smile. If you think about your future, smile. And being in the present and smile. You have life. You have life. You have life. I said this to somebody the other day. I said, I'm willing to bet that there are millions and millions and millions of dead people that would do anything to exchange with you their problem, that will switch with you right now just for a second of your problem to have
Mhm.
life again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep it all in perspective. You gotta be blessed and grateful. Gotta be blessed and grateful. And I laugh. I was just laughing with somebody about this because, a good thing to note is that things could always be worse. There's somebody that is unfortunately suffering more than what you are about something. And so you always gotta be grateful, be blessed and grateful for, you know, what you have because things could always be worse.
Mhm.
And I was having a conversation and it reminded me of this old joke I used to always say about that, and I'll share it with you real quick. There was this guy that used to always say things could be worse. Be blessed and grateful for what you have. Things will always be worse. And his friends really got upset at him for always being this one guy in the group. Regardless of what happened, he'd be the one guy, things could be worse. So they invited him over and said, "Hey man, you know Bob that lives around the corner from you?" He said, "Yeah, I know Bob." "You heard what happened to Bob last night?" "No, what happened to Bob last night?" "Bob came home early from work last night, caught his wife in bed with another guy. Shot his wife, shot the guy, and turned and killed himself too." And he was like, "Really?" Like, yeah. It's like, things could be worse. And he was like, "Things could be worse. How can things be worse? Everybody died." He was like, "Listen, man, if Bob came home early the night before, I'd be dead." I mean, things could be worse.
Okay. Things could be worse.
Yeah. I say that a lot to people. I remind myself of that, when I'm not feeling optimal. I'm stressed and I'm, feel like they have the urge to complain about something, or people call me. Some of my clients will call me with complaints and stuff, and I'll inevitably try to walk them around to that and be like, "Hey man, look, things could be worse. Let me tell you this joke," and I tell them the joke. So anytime in the future in that relationship, they want to go complain, I'll be like, "You remember things could be worse, right?" You
Yeah.
know, you're right, it can be worse.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
no.
definitely. Yeah, when you were talking about, I was reading a book earlier that was making me cry. It was all like about like all the collection of like being human in this world and all these beautiful moments like that you can have and like how much we don't appreciate like all that life has to offer,
Take for
you know?
granted.
And it's just yeah, we just take it for granted and it's just like
Take
you
for
have
granted.
these moments where you're just like, why do I do this? Why do I take this for granted? Because the world and people, and like there's so much beauty in this world. There's so much to
Yeah.
be grateful for. And why do we keep like just looking the other way? You know?
Yeah, not taking a deep breath and appreciating, that, now in human evolution on this planet, there's never been a better time to be a human, on Earth, with all of our amenities and accessibilities, and this Earth is so small. And you think about, people a couple thousand years ago. I mean, there was no Facebook, there was there was no heating, there was no lights, and,
Yeah.
it's a great time to be alive. And I was just talking to my kids about this the other day. Something came up about dinosaurs, and told him, I said, do you realize that dinosaurs walked this planet, for like 30, 60 million years? They lived on this earth. And it was like, yeah. And I said, but do you also realize that that was like 30 to 60 million years ago? Ago. That was a long time ago. Jesus was around over 2,000 years ago. That's a long time ago. So, my point is that this earth is super old. It's been here millions and billions of years, and it's probably going to be here millions and billions of years after we're gone. And we are on this earth, hopefully 70, 80 years.
Yeah, just nothing.
Hopefully just 70, 80 years. We're going to have an experience on this old ass planet. And you're stressing on what?
Mhm.
You're not loving your life because of what? You know, man, you better suck up every second you have of this thing, because it's going to be over in a quick second. And, you got to realize that, and that's one of the things that I live by and is one of my mantras. And I try to teach everybody is, love life.
Mhm.
Love your life, man.
Yeah. I remember there was like this like representing the earth, the timeline of the earth in 1 year.
Mm,
And it was like all this time there was nothing living here, and then
right.
finally we get like the first, you know, single-celled organisms. And then, here we are in December, and you
Hmm.
finally have like, you know, complex life. And
Right.
literally, it's like seconds that humans have been on this earth.
Seconds, nanoseconds.
Yeah, nanoseconds. It's like right before midnight, humans
Mhm.
existed, and you're
Yeah.
just like, what?
Right. It's so, when you put things in perspective, and that's what I try to do with people so they can give up, mentally sabotaging the preciousness, that we call life. My cousin of mine just called a couple days ago, and he was just going on and on and on about this issue that he's having, personally. And I just had to ask him. I said, well, listen, man, let me just ask you this. If you knew you were dying tomorrow, this was your last day, would you be thinking about this right now and stressing on it the way you are right now? He thought about it and was like, no, probably not. Probably not at all. And I said, well, I got a question. How you know you ain't dying tomorrow? How do you know you're not dying tomorrow?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, well,
you
yeah, I guess you
never
got a
know.
point. I guess you got a point. I was like, yeah, man, so knock it off, man. How was the game? You watched the game last night? Yeah, yeah. So that's just how I'm what I'm up to, and how I'm vibrating, and hopefully, helping people make these mental shifts, you know, um, to live a better quality of life. And I feel so blessed and grateful that I've been assigned this responsibility with my journey, because I truly believe mind mapping is that tool that can truly help people clarify and get control of this. This is what messes us up.
Mm-hmm.
overthinking, stressing. This is what kills us, is just not being able to really control how our minds are processing information. And mind mapping is, I haven't yet to find a better tool to help you organize and structure it in such a way that you can gain control of it, have better control of your thoughts to start experiencing more of the life you want
Mm-hmm.
versus angry and pissed off that you're not experiencing that life.
Definitely. Yeah. Um, I always like to ask my guests, how do you define fun?
Ooh, good question. Fun is the experience, whether it's a thought, an activity, relationship, it brings that sense of joy, that sense of peace, that sense of fulfillment, sense of happiness, whatever that is. I mean, fun could be reading a book, fun could be going to Six Flags, fun could be just being alone, So
Mhm.
fun could be, but I think whenever somebody can define fun, it's gonna have those qualities. You feel peaceful, you feel happy, you feel content, you feel fulfilled at whatever it is you're doing. So if whatever it is you're doing gives you peace, happiness, joy, and fulfillment, that's fun. Hope that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I also like to ask people what their play personality is. According to the Institute of Play in the United States, there's 8 play personalities.
Hmm.
There's the Joker, the
Hmm.
kinesthetic, the competitor, the creative, the explorer, the storyteller, the collector, and the director. And you can be
Mm.
more than one.
I would say my primary one is the creator. I mean, I've always been a creation kind of guy. Most of the patterns in my life have been the results, of me creating something, me visualizing it here and creating, my childhood dream of playing college sports, college football, creating, the vision that I had to own my own company, when I was in my 30s, vision that I had to create, a TEDx talk, I mean, everything that I've done. I think my mom would probably say, "Oh yeah, that boy creates. Yeah, he's been like that." She actually sent me a picture of when I was like 6 years old. I literally just grabbed things around the house and built what I envision as an amusement park on the floor. On the floor. My mom thought it was so cute. She took a picture of it. I mean, I had my books over here that was like the arcade. I had, this big bowl over here that was like the big swimming pool for all the kids. I mean, it was like it was literally my version of Six Flags, but I was just using my imagination and creating things. So my mom would, I'm swear with you, she would sit here and say, "Yeah, that boy's creative. He's the creative one. He's the creative one." That's his primary. I know there's some other ones in there that I could probably sprinkle into, but
Sure.
creative, I think would it definitely resonates most.
Yeah. I like the idea of just like being like, here's the stuff I have around the house. I'm gonna make this thing that's like
Yeah,
the most fun thing I can think of, you know?
I
Yeah.
did that. I did that. I mean, I had a skateboard. My skateboard was somewhere in the amusement park and was going to be a ride for people to go back and forth. If I find that picture, I'll email it to you.
I
So
would love to see
you can see
it.
my little old Six Flags when I was a kid.
Yeah, that sounds really cute. Yeah, it sounds very fun, you know.
It was.
Um I I'm personally really big on traveling, so I like to hear like people like what has been like what's your dream vacation?
Dream vacation. it would be definitely somewhere in tropical place. I'm a Hawaii guy. You know, once my youngest daughter, who's 16, goes to college, everybody in my family knows that I'm moving to Oahu. You know, once she goes off to college. So it'd definitely be somewhere there. I've been to Hawaii so many times that I probably wouldn't say that, but I would probably say something like Bali, Fiji, maybe Tahiti, um, some island somewhere. You know, all of the islands in Caribbeans. I've pretty much been to all of them except for Cuba. So, you know, I like the warm tropics. You know, I'm a water guy, plant guy, vegetation guy. I love being in those environments where, you know, even up where you're at, you know, I get that experience where due to the rain, you know, all the foliage and everything is just vibrant, live, and just fresh, and just, you know, the water just makes them stand strong, you know, and it feels
Mhm.
like life is really positively charged
Yeah.
in some of those areas that you know, versus like here in the desert. You know, I mean, I'm in Phoenix now, and it's kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
eh, yeah.
Have you been to the Olympics? Like that place like is magical. Like you see all
The
like these
where?
like the moss like hanging from the trees. It's just
The
like
where at?
the Olympics,
Just the Olympics in general,
the
or
Olympic mountains.
no, I haven't been there. Where's that?
Oh, it's just like a little bit, it's on the other side of the Puget Sound from like Seattle.
No, I have not been there yet. That
Oh,
sounds awesome.
like yeah, if you like greenery, I
I
would
do.
totally recommend going to the Olympic National Park. Like it's so like it's as if you're in a storybook.
Oh yeah, see,
Like you see like these the mosses like coming down from the trees and you're just like it's like magical.
yeah, I'm glad you told me. I'll be in Seattle in the next couple months too. I think in middle of May. I'm definitely gonna go. That's a good time
Nice.
to go
That's a
too.
good time to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I love it up there, man. It's so beautiful.
It is. Yes, it is. Um, let's see. If you are you a dog or a cat person?
Dog. We got a little dog.
Um, how many what
I
you were
have a
saying?
little dog,
You have a little
little
dog? What kind of dog?
was it Mitzi Poo, Mitzi Poo, or what do they call those? Mitzipu, or what do they call those little dogs? Little white, little curly cockadoo. No, it's my daughter's dog she found. Golly, it's a little pretty dude. I got a picture of him somewhere in here, but he's a little cool. It's my daughter's dog. I'm a dog guy, not a cat guy.
Yeah. Is it so is it's a rescue?
No, she actually found it in her mom's apartment complex
Oh.
and put up a sign, you know, anybody, you know, found lost dog found, and she was walking it in my ex's complex, and the lady came out and said, "Hey, that's my dog." And my daughter was like, "Well, hey, you know, we've been trying to find the owner." And the lady was like, "Well, I was actually trying to rehome it. Do you like it?" My daughter's like, "Sure." You know, so we got little Miso, Miso, Miso.
Oh,
He's a
he's
little
so.
cute little white. I kept Mitsupu. What is the name of those? It's a poodle terrier mix or something like that. It's gonna drive me nuts, man.
Yeah, I'm not very good at like knowing what like when they have like the mixes, like what the names are, like, yeah.
Hold on, my daughter will tell me real quick. I gotta figure it drive me nuts real quick.
She's like,
Hey babe, what kind of dog is Miso? Maltipoo.
oh,
All right, baby. Maltese. He's a Maltese and a poodle mix.
oh, multi.
All right, baby. Yeah, he's a little cute little dude. We just got him trimmed up and cleaned, and um he was so cute that the regular dog collar didn't really fit his personality. He's a little lover, kinesthetic dog. I mean, he has to be touched. He has to, I mean, he's just a little lover dude. So I went and got him this nice little black bow tie. So
Oh
he
my,
so he's a white dog and got this little black bow tie on.
oh my goodness, that sounds so cute.
Yeah, he's my guy, and unfortunately, it seems like it's so wild that even though it's my daughter's dog, I spend more damn time with him than she does. When she's at school and stuff, it's just me and Miso. But he's such a cool, smart dog. I wish I had something here to show you that I got one of these, but he's my guy. But yeah, I'm a dog guy. Are you a dog or a cat?
I really love dogs. Like they like touch my heart so much, but I sometimes I'm like for actually having a pet, I'm a little bit lazy. So I like cats because they'll just like
Right,
kind of
because
do
it's
their thing.
a little more independent. I don't know
Yeah.
if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see. Oh my goodness, he's so cute.
Yeah, that's it with his little bow tie on. That's
Oh, he
that's
looks like he belongs on the internet.
that's little Miso, man. He's such a good dude. He's a good dude.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like it. We got blessed. I was, again, as I told you, I have strong intentions on relocating to Hawaii, in the next couple of years when my daughter graduates high school. So, I laugh. I'm serious, but I'm laughing about how I'm trying to get rid of dependence. I don't. So once I leave, I mean, I'm getting rid of my plants, I'm getting rid of my fish, getting rid of everything. So it was a little hard for me at first to get another dependent with Miso,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's just such an awesome dude. I mean, he's just a good dog, a good spirited dog that we needed right now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I bet you feel like really blessed that it's just like he just kind of fell into your lap and then he ends up being like the coolest dog.
it's a beautiful thing. If my youngest daughter needed it because her older sister, my middle daughter, who's 19, she just left to go to college. She's a freshman at Northern Arizona University. So it was kind of perfect timing that her best friend leaves the college. She's kind of, what the hell, I'm by myself now, just me and dad. Then Miso come. So now she got Miso to kind of, balance that energy out now that her sister's off to school kind of deal. So it was universal guidance, something to extremely be blessed and grateful for. He's a welcome addition to our family. Miso Diggs, Miso. I don't know where she got Miso from, but yeah.
I mean, I feel like it kind of fits with like, like miso soup, like
Yeah.
white miso soup, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
That's where she got it from. I was like, where you got it from? She's like, well, I like miso soup. I was like, well, really? But the dog? She's like, Dad, his name is Miso. Get over it. I was like, I like it. Let's roll.
It's a good name though, I think, for a dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Well, I guess we're kind of at our hour point.
It was a great conversation. You're
It
awesome.
was so great. I really appreciate it. And it, yeah. Where can the audience find you?
I could be found at johndiggs dot com, JOHNDIGGS.com. I'm on all social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of it. I even got a TikTok account. Yeah, I got all of that stuff just primarily geared towards, sharing this Mappineering message. And for any of you and your listeners that, are really excited about wanting to do something, you can always email me directly at john@johndiggs.com. I am extremely, passionate and excited about helping as many people as possible. So I encourage any of you guys that, you guys have any questions about anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to share this message and guide you and mentor you and all of the things that I've learned and learning to love and live my best life. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is
You're
awesome.
you're so welcome. Thank you for being on. I really truly enjoyed our conversation so much.
Yeah, super cool. And I'll probably say hello to you when I'm in Seattle.
Yes, definitely do.
For sure. Thanks again for having
You're welcome.
me.